Hey, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio back in the studio today with another mixing video. Today I'm going to mix the song Burn It Down from 13 channels. I've mixed this in another video before. I'll try to remember to put a link to that video at the end of this one. This is going to be a whole new mix through the Soundcraft Sapphyre console using some outboard compressors and an outboard reverb unit. I'm going to do a few different things or variations on things that I've done before in the past. So let's go over to the mixing board and check out the mix. So I'm here at the console. I've got several cool things going on I'll go over first. First of all, I'm doing the parallel compression thing using the small faders here on the Soundcraft Sapphyre, using these XFX buttons again to route whatever's coming down these monitor channels, which of course these are coming from individual outputs on the audio interface from the DAW, which is Reaper, and then they get sent up here because of these XFX buttons. That turns these small faders into sends, and I can send to a pair of subgroups. So I'm sending the kick drum, toms, and some of the room mic down here all to a pair of subgroups for parallel compression. We've got standard complement of drum channels here: kick, snare, toms, overheads, room mic, and of course the parallel compression that I just described. Bass guitar, I have the Urei LA-10 compressor on the insert of this bass guitar channel. And I'm also doing something else with this bass guitar that's really cool. I'm using AUX 3 as a pre-fader send, sending this out to the Phatronics Reamper. So the output of AUX 3 with this bass sound is going to the Phatronics Reamper and then going through my JHS modified Soul Food pedal. It's the Electro Soul Food modified by JHS. So that's on this AUX end, and it's being brought back down here next to the parallel compression, which I'll explain in more detail in a moment. Then we've got an assortment of different guitar tracks, which you'll hear as I solo things up here in a minute. And down here, of course, the parallel compression on the drums. Today I'm using the LA Audio 4x4 compressor on this pair of subgroups. These channels on the Sapphyre have been turned into subgroups by pressing the sub button up here. This console has a floating subgroup architecture, so these two channels have now become subgroups, which allows me to even EQ the subgroups here. With the EQs, I do have a little bit of EQ on these subgroups, and this is the parallel compression with the LA Audio 4x4 compressor, which is linked in stereo. So whatever I'm sending down here to these pair of buses, like the toms are in stereo here, so they're going out to the compressor in stereo and coming back here, so I can blend the compressed sound of that LA Audio 4x4 FET compressor in with the dry signal down here. This fader is where I'm bringing back the reamp rig on the bass guitar. So this is coming from the JHS modified Soul Food pedal through the PreSonus MP20 mic preamp's instrument input. Then the instrument input, or the output of the MP20 with the instrument input, is then patched back into this channel, so I can blend that overdriven bass guitar sound that I'm getting here from AUX 3, the Phatronics Reamper, the JHS modified Electro Soul Food pedal, can blend that with the dry DI bass signal down here. On this end of the console we have vocal tracks mainly. This pair of channels here is special. This is a send inside the box, and I'm using Echo Cat on the background harmony vocals, or it's actually, I think it's just an octave, but I've got the Echo Cat from Waves Factory on that. So these two channels are the Echo Cat plugin, the return of that. This is the lead vocal and the backing vocal. There's two faders right here, and I don't remember what those are right now. Let's play this. mistake. I believed you were there for me, and I want to remember it this way. But you're dancing in the fire. So at the beginning of the song, you can probably hear that bass, the clean bass, or not exactly clean, but it's not the main bass sound to the DI bass, and then the reamped bass signal that's going through the modified Soul Food coming in down here. You can hear that in the intro, but I will go ahead and solo those up so you can hear that bass. And I'm going to vary the level a little bit too. Today in a big switch, I'm using one of my ART TCS compressors on the kick and the snare drum, using two separate channels of that in VCA manual mode. So that's the kick and the snare. Let me solo the kick and the snare so you can hear how good that ART TCS sounds in VCA mode on a kick and snare drum. This thing is kind of cleaner than usual, but it definitely has some punch. I really like it. So that's the ART twin compressor system, or TCS, on the kick and the snare. Now I have two ART TCS twin compressor system rack units. So I'm using the other one on the lead vocal and the backing vocal. Let's hear a little bit of the vocals. To remember it this way, but you're dancing in the fire. You're gonna burn the house down. Just tell me to get out. Never come back again, and I won't. But you're dancing in the fire. There's a little bit of reverb on those vocals, courtesy of my Yamaha Rev 500, and I think I'm using like the opera setting with a pretty big amount of pre-delay so that it doesn't muddy up that vocal too much. I think I've got 23 milliseconds of pre-delay and a reverb time of 1.7 seconds on the Rev 500. That's this blue fader right here, and I did turn that on and off just a second when I was playing those vocals. Hopefully I captioned that if I remember to. God, making videos like this is hard. I'm going to play the drum parallel compression, which is just the kick, the toms, and a little bit of the room mic. I'm going to play that back soloed so you can hear what the LA Audio 4x4 is doing. Now this is in addition to the ART TCS twin compressor system on kick and snare that I soloed just a moment ago. I'm not compressing the parallel compression. Those drums are not being compressed that hard, but that LA Audio 4x4 is a FET compressor with a pretty fast attack, and I do have the attack and the release set pretty fast, so it's giving it some nice color, even though it's not really compressing more than a couple of dB. I want you to hear what the Echo Cat, the Waves Factory Echo Cat sounds like on these background vocals. It's pretty cool, and it was recommended to me by my friend Travis Atkinson at Strangeberg Recording. It's a really good sounding tape delay plugin, so let's check it out. To remember it this way, but you're dancing in the fire. That's really cool, and it also has the Yamaha Rev 500, that Opera preset that I tweaked the pre-delay to be 23 milliseconds, and otherwise I think I left the preset alone. So all the vocals have a little bit of that, but obviously I'm not sending the Echo Cat affected vocals to the aux send out to the reverb. That would be the main vocal or background vocal track. Those are what's being sent to the reverb. So we've got a cleaner sounding vocal that's being sent to this nice long reverb, and then we have the tape delay vocal here to blend all of that together. So it sounds really cool. I'm going for an 80s kind of vibe in this mix, obviously, but it's a little more modern than that. And the drums sound really punchy, and I'm really happy with this. I'm gonna play through and solo up some of these guitars that are going on. We've even got some harmonized guitars towards the end of the song that are pretty cool. To remember. Move on to these. This is a stereo guitar right here. It's a stereo electric guitar with some crunchiness to it and some delay on it. And that's the way that was tracked, so I'm not doing anything in the mix to create that delay. That's just the way this was tracked. And I believe back then I was using a Line 6 Echo Park with the stereo output to track this. And then here we have a really thick electric guitar that's adding some body and some low end to this stereo guitar here. What I've done with this one, there's no compression on any of these guitars, by the way. I have accentuated some mid-range frequencies, not necessarily upper mids, but kind of mid-mids, I guess you'd call it, to accentuate the growliness of this guitar. And then I've also boosted a little bit of low mids, but at the right frequency so that it doesn't interfere with any of the other guitars. This next track here is playing the melody lines, kind of a melody or a fill part. So let's check that out. So that's a cool sounding part there too, and I am feeding both this low growly guitar part and this kind of fill melodic part here. Those are both being sent to the Yamaha Rev 500 reverb, same as the vocal tracks, to give them a little bit of space. These three tracks here are guitar solos or melodies, this being the main one, and then these two are a stereo part that's harmonized with this one. Let me cue up this section of the song so you can hear how the three of these work together. None of these are being sent to the reverb. We've got a touch of EQ, some different upper mid-range frequencies being boosted on each one so that they don't overlap each other too much, even though these are kind of the same. You want the stereo spread to remain there. These are not hard panned. They're panned, like 75%. So this all sounds really cool. It's really fun. Now I'm just going to try and print a mix so you can see all the rack gear and everything going on with that, and me struggling to move faders and try to get these vocals sitting in the right spots at the right time, making sure things are working. So let's give it a shot now. That I'm the same today. It depends on you, but that's so hard to say. 'Cause you're dancing in the fire. You're gonna burn the house down. Just tell me to get out. Never come back again, and I won't. But you're dancing in the fire. Dancing in the fire now. Dancing in the fire. Burn it down again. Dancing in the fire. Baby, now get out of here. Get out of here. You know where you're going. '80s rock and roll with a modern twist and some punchy drums, courtesy of the ART or Art Applied Research Technology TCS twin compressor system. Oh yeah, twin compressor system. That was fun. Now let me go to the part where I say bye and all that. I'm sad the mix is over. God. So sad. Oh well. I really liked the JHS modified Soul Food pedal in parallel on the bass guitar to add a little bit of drive to the bass. That worked really well. Of course, the ART TCS compressors worked great on vocals and the kick and the snare drum. So I was really happy with that. And as always happy with the Urei LA-10 on bass guitar. So I used that again in today's video. Yamaha Rev 500 is an excellent, pretty low cost reverb that you can get pretty inexpensively, and they sound really good. My old PreSonus MP20 mic preamp works great for an instrument DI. I've had that thing forever. Haven't done a video specifically about the PreSonus MP20, but maybe I should do that. If you'd like to see more about the PreSonus MP20 mic preamp, leave a comment on this video and I'll try to make that happen for you. I really truly appreciate everyone watching. Make sure to check out the links in the video description for the original mix of this song, as well as other links that help support this channel. Also, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Twin Creek Audio YouTube channel if you have not done so already. And as always, I hope each and every one of you out there has an excellent and wonderful day, night, evening, weekend, weekday, hour, minute, second, nanosecond. Whatever it is you're having, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Must be